Hello everyone and welcome to the Before You Bet Racing preview, taking a look at all the action on Saturday, September 5th. We're at Moonee Valley in Melbourne and Randwick in Sydney. I'm your host Tim Geers, joined as always by Trent Crebbin. We're brought to you by PlayUp this week. And although there's no Group 1 racing in Australia this weekend, we do have Group 1 racing on just about every weekend for the next 2 or 3 months. So it's really an exciting period. And as I've said, although we've got no Group 1s this weekend, we do have a few Group 2s in Melbourne and also a few Group 2s over in Sydney on what's set to be another really big weekend of racing. Trent, welcome. How's things over there?
Yeah, very good. Kind of spring weather's coming back in. It's real nice outside today. A few good races at the Valley. I know we've got a bit of a match race that we're keen to get stuck into a little bit on opposing sides, I believe. So we'll get stuck into that shortly.
Yeah, well, let's hope for a better outcome at the Valley this time around, because last time we were there, of course, basically the rule of thumb was if you couldn't lead, you couldn't win. And that, of course, is the meeting that got washed out halfway through. We look to be on a little bit better track this week, but notably there is a fresh pad of 5 metres from the rail out 5. So how do you think the track's going to play this week with that fresh pad of grass on the inside 5 metres?
You're going to want to be hard on the rails, at least for the first half of the card, I think, and on pace. Leaders on the rail are going to be really hard to run down. So anything worse, midfield or worse, not on the rail is going to be very tough to win. So I'd be steering clear of really anything back in the field.
As I mentioned, at the Valley, good 4 rail true. Over in Sydney, we're on a good 4 with a rail out in the 6 metre position. We'll be taking you through our best bet and best value bet for both the Valley and Randwick. And of course, as I've said, we're brought to you by playup.com.au. So jump on there and make sure you're betting with PlayUp this weekend. We'll get straight into our best bets. And Trent, you've already alluded to the little match race that we're keen to get stuck into. And I'm really interested in your thoughts this week because our old mate Showmanship, the WA horse, when he came across and he raced first up, you absolutely declared this thing. You said, take whatever you have in your bank account and put it on Showmanship. Won't lose. He didn't lose. He got the job done, but you're tipping against him this week because your best bet is Age of Chivalry. This is race number 5, horse number 3 we're talking about. It's the Chandler McLeod Stakes. Trent, you've made Age of Chivalry your best bet of the day and you're taking on Showmanship. So take us through your thoughts.
Yeah, I felt a bit sick taking on Showmanship because of the love that I have for that horse, declaring him, and he got the job done for us. But I also loved the first up run of Age of Chivalry in the Regal Roller Stakes. And I think the format of that race has been pretty good. I know you were potting Be Good to Your Mother in the Memsey, but I thought he ran absolutely enormous. Just missing a placing for us there. Age of Chivalry was even better than him, kind of racing along the inside there in the inferior ground. Railed up. Viridine, who was the fit at the peak of his powers, kind of sprinter there. Went past him. Age of Chivalry wouldn't lie down, headed him back, just went down by 0.1 of a length. And the key with Age of Chivalry is his second up record. He goes a lot better second up than he does first up. I believe he's got 2 wins and a third from 4 starts. No problems on him staying at the 1200 meters. I think he can go straight to the front here, which, as I'm predicting the track is going to play, I think leading and being rails in run is going to be very important. So I think he can get to the rail and lead this field if Lane shows any intent, which I think they'll want to. Showmanship is the obvious danger, and he's drifted a little bit from his opening price, and I think that's fair. It just depends what they do with the map for Showmanship, because a lot of people say, no, he's just going to go back to last, he's going to have no hope. But you and I both know that he does have good tactical speed. We saw, I think, his biggest margin win to date in WA, I think it was at Belmont. He won by about 5 or so lengths, and he sat outside the leader that day. So I know he does have some early speed. Drawing a gate here, they could try and hold a spot there. I still think he's going to be behind Age of Chivalry in the run, possibly like midfield, one off the fence maybe, instead of being back last. But I think even if he's giving Age of Chivalry a 3 or 4 length head start coming to the turn, he's going to really struggle if he has to come wide and make that run. So I think at 1200 here, Age of Chivalry is better suited just on this day. And I think the price is slowly starting to come in for Age of Chivalry. I've taken $3.80. He's into about $2.90 now with PlayUp, and I think that's probably about his right price. And Showmanship's probably just going to keep getting out a little bit, and it probably wouldn't surprise me to see them jump at about equal favourites there. So as much as it hurts me to take on Showmanship, I think Age of Chivalry is the better price at the moment, and I am leaning his way in a cracking race, probably the best race on the day for me.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that as you were talking of all the races on the day. This is probably one that I'm most looking forward to. William Pike's come out and basically said, we've drawn a good gate, so my intent is to hold a strong position in the run. What will you be thinking if Age of Chivalry finds the rail in the lead and there's Showmanship just smoking the pipe third or fourth right behind him?
Yeah, I'm going to be very scared. I think that's best case scenario for Showmanship. And if that happens and he gets, that clear run, just eases off heels coming into the turn, and he can go past Age of Chivalry, also with a 4 kilo weight swing that he does have on that horse. I think that's best case for Showmanship. Worst case is that he's a touch slower away and is worse than midfield. And from there, I think he can't win. I think most likely scenario is he's giving Age of Chivalry 3 or 4 lengths, and I think it's going to be tough from there. So just at the prices, I think Age of Chivalry is the better bet because I loved that first up run, and he's only going to improve second up. But if Showmanship comes out and wins this from, any other position than the back of Age of Chivalry, I think you can just lock him in for almost anything over 1,400 to 1,600 in the spring, really. He's going to be very hard to beat in anything.
Love it. Can't wait. That, of course, is race number 5 on the card at Moonee Valley, the Chandler McLeod Stakes. We're going to do your best value bet of the day now. It comes up in the race immediately after that one, race number 6. You're with a horse, number 4, Fine DANE. Barrier 1, first up from a spell. He's got a good record at the track and distance. He's currently $34 with PlayUp.
Yeah, just a bit of a speculative bet here with Fine DANE, who I believe is actually the outsider of the field at this time. It's a very tough race over the 1,000 metres here, the McEwen Stakes. The favourite's Hanseatic, coming back from a Blue Diamond campaign where he ran second to Tagaloa. I think he's short enough at around $3 just because he's going to be back near last and drawn wide. So he's going to have to make that long run around the field. So even though I think they're going to go very quickly here, he could be still a long way off them. And with the pattern of the day, it's just going to be very tricky. Fine DANE ticks a few boxes. While he's not as good as some of these horses just on pure ability, I like that he draws barrier 1 here. Normally at the Valley, barrier 1 can be a bit of a curse, but I think it's going to almost force them to ride for luck, because if he had to come around the field, I don't think he'd be good enough. But from barrier 1, he is quite a quick horse, so I think he'll get crossed early by Witherspoon and Rulership, but I think he can be just behind them on the rails, which I think is going to be an advantage to be rails in run on the day. And if he can get a little bit of luck, if something rolls off the fence and he can poke through, I think he's a big price at around $34 with PlayUp. He's 3 wins from 4 runs when first up, and that other run, I think he ran really well. Only beaten about 2 lengths behind Jungle Edge and I Am Immortal. So I think at the prices, I think he's worthy of an each way bet. I will just make a quick mention as well. I'm going to have something on number 9 Rulership as well. I thought his run last week was very good when unlucky. He kind of got chopped out for a run at the 200. He started almost the same price as Hanseatic when they met in the Blue Diamond Prelude, I think, but he's 3 times his price here and does have map favours over that horse. So I think you could have something on him as well at around that $9 mark. But Fine DANE will be a big result if he can lob in the McEwen Stakes.
This is going to be such a fascinating race, especially if, like you're predicting, the track is favouring those on speed early, because the speed in this race is just enormous. You've got Bella Vella coming across from a relatively wide gate. You've got Dispatch who can race up there. Witherspoon, you've already mentioned, goes forward. Ashlaw's drawn inside her. Rulership drawn inside him. So you've probably got 4 or 5 horses there that can burn forward. And if this track and this rail is playing hot, they're going to break some serious speed records here. Can you get your thoughts just quickly on Brooklyn Hustle, who you, of course, tipped first up? Looks to be the obvious back marker in the race.
Yeah, I thought she was an obvious chance. She loves the Valley. She kind of just seems to handle it very well. That win first up was very good. This is a huge step up, obviously. That was a 78 field against Propel, those kind of horses. These are against proper, stakes class, potentially even higher than that horses. She draws inside again here. And she was absolutely blessed first up. Dwayne Dunn stuck to the inside and she just got that gap and exploded. Now, they're going to string the field out here. They're going to go quickly. I've got no doubt about that. So maybe those gaps do appear again. And Dwayne Dunn sticks to the inside again and tries to poke through and find those gaps, because she does have an electrifying turn of foot to take those gaps if they present. But at the price, she's $4 or so now. in a much harder race, knowing that she's going to have to get a lot of luck again on the inside. I think she's probably short enough. If she does get that luck, she's probably going to be right in the finish, but I'm probably just going to take her on at the prices here.
Fair enough. We'll move on to Randwick now and get into my best bets of the day. And this has been a very testing morning because I was ready to declare Masked Crusader before me and Trent jumped on, and then he was scratched this morning to ruin all that. So I've had to find another best bet, and it took me a while to do because I think it's the kind of card where there's nothing really that stands out to me as something I can label a best bet. But I've ended up on on ICEBATH in race number 9, currently $2.90 after scratchings. That was the same race that Masked Crusader was set to line up in. So ICEBATH now comes into the $2.90 favourite. Sherry Jim first up over 1,200 metres here at Randwick. This track and distance in a benchmark 78. She was beaten ahead by Zakat on that occasion. She meets him once again here. She was only first up from a spell on that occasion with one trial under the belt. So I think she's going to take quite significant improvement out of that first up run. She gets a 2 kilo weight swing on Zakat. She draws well in barrier 2. My little slight knock with her is that they're staying at 1,200 metres rather than stepping up to 1,400 metres, which I think is a distance she's likely to be better suited at. But I think she's got Crystal Breeze covered. I think with that weight swing and with that first up run under the belt, I think she'll have Zakat covered as well, especially with the better barrier draw. And with even luck, I think she looks the most likely winner of the race. Mirror Vision, she resumes from a spell with 3 trials under the belt. She's undefeated first up from a spell. Looms as a danger as well. But I'm a little bit off Tim Clark just for the moment. He has ridden a couple of winners in the last week or so, but he's still kind of struggling at Metropolitan level. And barrier 11 is also a tricky draw to negotiate. So I just thought on a day where there was a lot of open races and a lot of competitive racing, ICEBATH with that scratching of Masked Crusader probably looks one of the best bets of the day. And hopefully she can blast us out in the last. Trent, any thoughts on that race? I know you were keen to see Masked Crusader.
Yeah, I had a fair go at Masked Crusader. He's been scratched now. I took $2. I'm almost not too mad about it because it would have been a long, stressful wait throughout the day to get through to that race. I know you made a quick mention of number 3, the Fire Trap, that possibly could be a saver or just another small result at big odds there. Had never run a place second up, and he didn't again second up last start, and then third up he's 2 from 3. So I thought you said maybe he could be one at Valley that could run well. But yeah, ICEBATH does look a likely winner. I thought that first up run was really good as well. I thought she was probably the danger to Masked Crusader. So with him out, she looks the one to beat here.
Yeah, I think quite clearly the Fire Trap is the value in the race. It was around $34. I'm not sure if it's still that price after the scratching of Masked Crusader, but as you've just alluded to, it was a really, really good win first up on the heavy 10 at Warwick Farm, where it came right down the outside fence, I think, on that occasion. It's had 4 starts, second up from a spell. It's never run a place from those 4 starts, but it's run 3 times third up from a spell and it's won 2 of those. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Fire Trap kind of reverse his form here, and he goes good on good tracks with 3 wins. So yeah, I think at around $34 or whatever price he may be now after that scratching, I think he's probably the one in the field that looks particularly over the odds. But yeah, pretty keen on ICEBATH to get the job here. Race number 9, horse number 12 at Randwick. Move on to my best value of the day, and this is one of the Group 2 features on the day. It's the Chelmsford Stakes. It's race number 7. I'm keen on about 3 or 4 horses here, but I've made my best value bet of the day horse number 8, Shared Ambition. This horse is trained by Chris Waller, ridden by James McDonald today. It ran first up from a spell. If I just find the name of the race it ran in, it was in the spring preview over 1,400 metres here at Royal Randwick on a heavy 10 track. Now, to just had the one trial leading into that, they booked apprentice Tom Sherry. He's a 3 kilo claimer. He drew wide, he went forward, he was stuck wide throughout the running of the race, and he weakened out to finish around third last, beaten 9 lengths. But I think we're going to see really sharp improvement from this horse. We know he's a very good horse on his day. I think there's a few keys today. The first of those is being second up from a spell with that run under the belt. He's had 3 starts second up from a spell and he's won all 3. The second thing is, as I've mentioned, James McDonald takes over from the apprentice Tom Sherry. quite often we can see these Chris Waller horses resume first up from a spell with an apprentice riding. They've just got no run. They're there. They've got no chance. They're there just to have a run and build some fitness. And then we often see second or third up, the senior riders go on and their performance kind of reflects that. The other thing is getting back onto a good surface. He's had 3 starts now on a heavy track and he's only placed in one of those 3 starts, but he's had 4 starts on a good track for 3 wins and a 3rd placing. And that 3rd placing was a really good performance at the back end of last preparation over 2,000 metres. So I think there's a lot to like about him. And I think this race is very kind of icky. Like we've got Avilius who's close enough to favourite, first up from a spell over 1,600 metres on a good track. I think the jury's kind of been out about him for the last probably 6 months. So I wouldn't be diving into the $5 about him. And there's just a lot of horses that look unsuited here or, purely just not good enough or out of form. So I'm banking on the fact that Shared Ambition on his day is one of the best horses in this race. And if he can bounce back to the usual form he's shown last preparation and the prep before that, I think he's going to give this a red hot crack. He's probably still going to be better suited at 2,000 metres, but I'm expecting him to go close here. He's around $8.50 with PlayUp. A couple of others to mention. I give a chance to number 14, Natoya. She's currently at around $11 or $12. She won first up over this track and distance last preparation on her way to winning the Doncaster over this track and distance. She's got 4 wins from 9 starts overall over the mile at Randwick, so I wouldn't be discounting her first up from a spell with the inside barrier draw. Angel of Truth ran really well on its stable debut for the Team Hawks. It was beaten 0.4 lengths in that same race as Shared Ambition ran in the Spring Preview Handicap, beaten by Man of Peace, who is just a rock hard fit in very, very good form. I think it's won probably 3 or 4 on the trot. So for it to run as well as it did first up from a spell, I think indicated that it's come back in really good order this campaign. Whether he wants a heavy track is probably the query. He's only had 1 win from 7 starts on good ground. But he seems to have come back a much better horse this preparation. So he has obvious claims. And the other one of intrigue is number 13, Zabrowski, who we saw run in the Group 1 Wink Stakes. He finished midfield, beaten about 4.5 lengths by Very Elegant. Trent, I know you were really keen on this horse, this preparation. How do you kind of assess Zabrowski in this particular race? He's currently $7.50.
I know I made a comment of him before the Wink Stakes that I was hoping he'd get a run because I was kind of keen to see how he'd come back. And I thought on the review article that we did, I made a note of him that he was absolutely flying and looks good for something further down the track. I think he's unders here at $7. He's going to be better over 2,000, 2,400, potentially going towards a Metrop or a Caulfield Cup potentially. I hope it's a Caulfield Cup because I've backed him at about 50s. So I think at $7 here, he's short enough because he's probably going to be back near last again.
I don't know. He's an exciting horse. Be interesting to see what the market does. As you said, he's currently around $7 in a field like this. But I do know that we were very keen to follow him out of that first up run. So yeah, he's an interesting runner here. But as I said, I'm pretty keen on the $8.50 currently about Shared Ambition. He's my best value bet of the day. Very happy to bet around Avilius, who's taking up a large percentage of the market. So just to refresh, Trent's best bets. Best, race 5, number 3, Age of Chivalry at Moonee Valley, $2.90 with PlayUp. His best value is race 6, number 4, Fine Dane at $34. And at Randwick, my best bet is race 9, IceBath at $2.90. And my best value bet is race 7, number 8, Shared Ambition. You can find our race-by-race previews for Moonee Valley and Randwick this weekend. We'll chuck them in the link below in the description section of the YouTube video. Otherwise, just head to beforeyoubet.com.au. You can find our preview, our assessment, and our selections for every single race at Moonee Valley and Randwick this weekend. Trent, anything else before we head off for another week?
No, I can't wait to get stuck into it tomorrow, and we'll talk to you all next week.
And just worth mentioning quickly before we go that Hong Kong racing does start back up again this Sunday. So basically from here on in for the next 10 months or so to be most Sunday and Wednesday nights as well, getting stuck back into Sha Tin and Happy Valley. Can't wait for that. Head to beforeyoubet.com.au. We'll have everything covered there. Have a great weekend. Make sure if you are having a bet, you do gamble responsibly. And we thank PlayUp for their continued support. Good luck.